Hello, welcome back. Right, as you can see from the title, the subject of this video is a comparison of Gryzor for the Amstrad CPC, ZX Spectrum and Commodore 64. This is a video I've wanted to do for a while, but the version of the game that I downloaded originally for the Amstrad didn't work, so I couldn't get it working. And then all of a sudden it did work when I tried it again. So Gryzor is Contra, the Konami arcade hit. For the European sort of PAL regions it was renamed Gryzor, and I had it on the Spectrum. There is my version of it. That's the actual version I bought according to the receipt in the box on the 29th of December 1987. Let's see if you can see that. Yep, so that's been with me 31 years nearly. I always really enjoyed it. It's a game you could play two-player. I used to play it on my Spectrum with my mate David, and also we'd play it on his Amstrad as well. Now, the Amstrad's going to go first, then we're going to have the Commodore 64, then we're going to have the ZX Spectrum. Again, it's just a comparison to show what the versions were like, what the differences and similarities were, and for us to be able to have a discussion about our memories of the particular version that we had, that we used to play, and how it ranked alongside the versions that we're not familiar with. Like I said, I'm familiar with the Spectrum and the Amstrad, so I'm really quite interested to see how the Commodore 64 version fares up. It's not going to be a playthrough or anything. I've always found Gryzor quite a difficult game, but we'll see how far we get and have a bit of fun while we're doing it. Okay, see you in a sec. Hello, welcome back. Right, Gryzor for the Amstrad CPC 464, released by Ocean in 1987, of course, based on Konami's smash hit arcade game Contra. It's a half run and gun, half corridor style shoot 'em up. You could play it one or two players. I'm Billy No Mates nowadays, so I'm just left on my own in my front room in the dark with just me and my Amstrad, like the sad old bastard that I am. You can play as Lance or Bill. Controls Q, A, O, P and space, up, down, left, right and fire. You can play it with joystick, of course, but you know, I find this a tricky game anyway with keys, and with joystick I just couldn't get very far in it at all. Now, like I said, you're not going to see a playthrough or anything of this. I can occasionally reach level 2, so I'm going to try and replicate that feat of skill for you all here. Now, the graphics on it are really, really nice and sort of colourful, beefy, detailed. They might look a little bit blocky, but they are really, really good. Now those things that are opening and closing on the wall give you power-ups if you shoot them. Here it gives me a laser, which is a bit useless. Apart from making sort of like a nice lasery noise. This weapon, this three-way sort of shotgun, is much better. Now here I can drop down into the water and make my way across to the right, or I can go across the bridge. If I go across the bridge, I've got to be careful because it's mined like that, and I've landed on the fucking thing again. Oh, sorry. Once you die, you lose whatever weapon you had, which is a total pain in the arse, which means you are immediately sort of disadvantaged again. It would have been good if, having collected sort of weapons, you could sort of keep them, so that, you know, when you died you only lost the particular one you were using. But it's really, really good. The flick screen doesn't sort of take anything away from it. It doesn't scroll, as you can see. Yeah, it doesn't scroll, as you can see, but that doesn't sort of detract from the game in any way, shape or form. Now, get in here. I am sort of, this is the last screen of the level, and I'm amazed that I've made it here actually. I've taken that bloke out, so I've got to get up here and then blow these turrets out, and then make my way down to the bottom and shoot that sort of eye thing, and bloody hell, I've completed the level. Well, isn't that a surprise? Right, so that's given me an extra life. Now I've got to shoot these sort of eye things. Ah! And I'm back to the fart pistol. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, for God's sake. Now these versions can be these sort of like levels can be a little. That's game over, man. Oh shit! Right, I'm going to try that once more. Don't want to enter my name. Despite being difficult, this is a really, really good version of the game. Really good fun. And I suggest that you do go and check it out. The graphics on it are wonderful. It plays really well. Don't worry about the flick screen. It doesn't sort of take anything out of it. Farty laser. Freeway shotgun. Now I've got to be careful here because as I go to jump, there'll be another bloke coming across like that. And ain't that a pain in the backside? Yes, it is. Now I've missed that. I don't have to worry about them because by the look of it, they can't swim. Right, let's see if I can. No, I can't. Right, okay. That's not good. Oh shit! I forgot. He doesn't. You don't have to climb out the water. He sort of comes out automatically, and that means if you're not careful at that bit, you sort of end up copping an unfortunate one. Oh! Whoa! 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 Oh. Right. See if I can. No. Lie down, you prat. That's it. Right. Yeah. So really, really, really tricky game. We're back on the second level, and I've got an extra life. How much use I'll be able to make of that, I don't know. Ah! Whoa, dear. Oh, right, okay, right, I've got through that screen. Now, yeah, it can be very, very tricky to see what's coming at you on this screen. Right, that's going to be game over. Okay, right, that's the Amstrad version of Gryzor. Going to move on now. That's as far as I can get. I really do apologise, but it really, really is a good, fun game. Okay, see you in a bit. Hello, welcome back. Right. Going to get Gryzor going on the Commodore 64. Never played this version, never seen it up until about 10-15 minutes ago. So what we're going to see is that this particular version, there are options to activate cheats, and I'm likely going to have to use them at some point. They're not a particularly great loading screen there, but not bad. You know, the Amstrad loading screen is much better, but I forgot to actually include that in the Amstrad segment. But never mind. So Commodore 64 owners, your thoughts and memories of Gryzor on your machine, please. Let's get it going. Now you can see here, I don't want to do this just yet, but I might have to at some point because this is a very, very tricky game. Now I'm having to play this with keyboard. This has with joystick. This has a joystick and keyboard setup that you need to use. If you want to jump or go up and down, you have got to press space, and that's actually sort of quite difficult for me to get into. Right, well you can see already is there's some really sort of decent music playing. So let's select fire to start and get into it. Right, so we're at target section 1. That's me there. Now the first thing you'll hear is that the music on it is excellent, but the graphics on it aren't particularly great. They're nowhere near as nice as the Amstrad version, but the question is, how does the game play? Well, it doesn't play too badly, apart from being sort of like horrendously difficult because of, you know, reasons that I've sort of mentioned. Oh, you can see I've landed in the water there. Right, that's not great. Yeah, so this is where, oh dear, right, okay. This is where that sort of having to use, there we go, it's game over already. This is where you can see that having to use the space bar and joystick at the same time is really quite tricky. Now, I'm sure with practice I'll get better at it, but you know, I don't have sort of hours and hours and hours to put into games. But you know, it doesn't play too badly. Oh dear. It doesn't play too badly, but it doesn't look as nice, like I've said, as the Amstrad version. Oh dear, come on. See, that's game over already. Right, let me try once more on that, and then I'm going to have to... This is as far as I can get because I'm finding it really difficult. Now, I know that's probably not the game's fault, and most people manage to get on with it just fine. But, you know, I'm not most people. You know, definitely much better graphical style on the on the Amstrad. But this has got, you know, the music on it is absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't know, I've never seen the Contra sort of arcade game, so I don't know how sort of faithful and accurate these versions of it are to it. Now, you're going to have to sort of humour me a bit here, because I know, right, oh bollocks. Ah, shit. Now, that's the end of the level, and it's game over. Right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the cheats, basically. See you in a sec. Hello, welcome back to Commodore 64 Gryzor. Now, as you can see, I've had to activate this just so that I can sort of get a little bit further into the game. Yeah, ignore that. That's I don't know what's making that noise. It's just the demo. Right, okay. Right, here we go. So let's try it again, see how far I can get. Well, obviously I can get really far because I've got infinite lives and I've turned enemy collisions off. But I just want to see a little bit more of the game. Like I say, I mean, I'm sort of loath to sort of criticise something too much for, you know, if it's bad gameplay, bad game playing, then that's my problem, not the sort of games. But I just found it really sort of difficult, you know. Now you can see, as opposed to the Amstrad version, the mines on the bridge are pretty sort of like well signposted. You can see they're there, where they are, so you can avoid them. The Amstrad, sometimes you found yourself jumping too early or too late, and I think it's the same with the Spectrum version. Right, here I am sort of at the end of... And I just got to blow, yeah, at the end of the levels, and like on the Amstrad and the Spectrum version as well, because I remember this bit, I just got to blow these turrets up and then move down to the sort of eye or whatever it is. Now, because I'm having to use, as I'm having to cheat basically, I'm unsure as to sort of like what to make of the Commodore 64 version, whether or not it's sort of great or, you know, abysmal. It doesn't seem to be playing too badly. It looks a lot rougher around the edges than what I've already sort of shown you. And you know, to me, that kind of difficulty level. Now I know it's the same on the Spectrum version. You have to have a separate fire, a separate button for jump, etc. But yeah, so I really don't know what to make of it. I'm enjoying it now because obviously I'm invincible. But the sort of 10 or 15 minutes that I did play of it without anything, I found quite, you know, not enjoyable. And it's a difficult game anyway. But yeah, this is just the sort of first couple of levels of Commodore 64 version of Gryzor, just to sort of show you what it's like. Yeah, okay, right, let's move on. Okay, here we are, Gryzor for the Spectrum 128K. I am of course playing this on Spectaculator because of my specky blowing up. Right, so let's redefine my keys. I want A, Q, P, O, space and M for fire. This is the version I'm most familiar with, so let's see how this fares up against the others. Now already I've got an extra sort of weapon. You can see graphically it's obviously necessarily very different from the others, but it still sort of like resembles the game, and it plays really well. Used to love this back in the day, but of course the Spectrum's graphics make the bullets difficult to spot. Now this seems very similar level design wise to the C64 version. I'm not sure. Now this it was not a bad sort of thing, but you know, some parts of say for example the Amstrad version seem to be missing, like the bridge sort of the second sort of bridge section, so I'm not sure how sort of accurate this is towards the arcade version. But what I will say is I always loved Gryzor on the Spectrum, and I remember, well I don't remember, it was only I was reading Crash magazine earlier, and sorry, a few weeks back, and I did a sort of run through of it, and I remember seeing a review of Gryzor for the Spectrum, and they really slated it. They gave it something like low 60s as a mark, which I thought was really bad, because I really enjoyed Gryzor on the Spectrum. Now the music is great, the action is okay. Now if I'm ever going to get out of this bit, who knows? Oh, probably not. Now the only thing, like I say, having a sort of dedicated jump button is a bit of a sort of tricky mechanic to get used to, and on the Spectrum, you know, the bullets are very difficult to see. I know I said that the Amstrad had that problem as well. Right, that's going to be me sort of done on that one. So let's, right, oh, I've got a high score. Let's try that again, because it's far more, you know, I find it far more accessible than the Commodore 64 version, because, you know, I can use keys with it. I don't want to keep sort of boring everyone with the fact that I'm no good with joysticks and stuff, but I genuinely am not. You know, I can't help it. It's just my sort of idiosyncrasy, as opposed to any fault of games that I've ever sort of played. Now I'm not sure what this weapon is supposed to be. Whether or not it's supposed to be like the laser from the other version. It's quite a bit, I was going to say it's quite a bit easier than the other two versions. And I think that's the case. I think it is. It's very enjoyable. Get past the way it looks and the sort of faults with it, and you'll find that this is a really fantastic version of Gryzor. Like I say, I mean, it's the game, it's the version that I knew the sort of most and played the most, and I really enjoy it. That said, you know, it's not without its faults and problems, but it's by no means a bad game. Now, are you going to blow up? Yes, you are. Right, okay. So we're back indoors again. Yes, I'm not going to be able to get much further than that. So here we go. Spectrum version plays really well. It's got a lot of playability. Like I say, it used to be a fantastic sort of two-player game. I really can't see what's going on very well here. But, you know, as Spectrum owners, we got sort of used to this kind of thing. Oh, for God's sake! You swine! Alright, we'll have one more go at that. Another high score, yay. One more go, and then we'll go to the outro. Right, there we go. Right, coming in, 0 at the start. Now, when you're in the water, of course, you can't duck to avoid, but you can obviously jump. You see, I spawned there right on top of an enemy. Oh dear. Oh, this go's not looking too good, is it? Get out of it, you swine. No, oh wow. But yeah, really always enjoyed Gryzor on the should have jumped on the Specky. Well, that lasted a long while, didn't it? Right, okay, let's go to the outro. Okay, welcome back. Right, there you go. That was 3 versions of Gryzor: Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum. What did I make of them? Well, the Amstrad version I remember from back in the day. Really lovely sort of graphics on it. Played at a really decent speed. Very difficult. All versions of it are quite difficult, or perhaps that's just me. Yeah, flick screen affair as opposed to the scrolling seen in the other 2 versions, but that didn't sort of knacker the game at all. I found it really enjoyable. The Commodore 64 version, I find it difficult to know what to make of it. I really found it incredibly tricky, the joystick and keyboard combination, having to use a key, you know, space, and that's probably just down to me being really bad at games as opposed to any fault of the game. Some of you sort of watching will probably think, what's he talking about? It's actually quite easy once you get used to it. The problem was I couldn't get used to it, hence having to put the sort of infinite lives and cheats on. And from what I saw of it, it looked, although it looked ropey, it looked like it was a really good game. It was quite fast. It had some fantastic music going through it. And it looked like, if you know, if you could have got the hang of it, it would have been a pretty decent version. The Spectrum version, yeah, has its faults. Bullets sometimes hard to see, but it moves really nicely. It plays really well. I remember back in the day not being able to get much further than I showed you there. I certainly never completed Gryzor, but really enjoying it, especially as a 2-player game. It was great fun. But yeah, so that's it. You know, it's not to say one version's better than the other. It's just to show the sort of differences and similarities between all of them, and to sort of discuss them. You know, so what I'd like to know is what your version was, what you thought of it, and what you thought of the versions that you've never seen before. Do they make you want to sort of go and play them? Now, yeah, great graphics on the Amstrad, great sound on the Commodore 64. Great playability and decent sound on the Spectrum version, all with their flaws. I certainly don't think the Spectrum version was anywhere near as bad as Crash Magazine made out. There's no way that was a low 60s game. I had immense fun with that game back in the day. Nowadays, I mean, I've not played it for 30 odd years almost, so you know, it's going to take me a bit of time to get my eye back in on it. But that's Gryzor for you. If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. But as I always say, if you are going to subscribe, please take the time to join in the conversation with discussions and stuff. Little sort of word for you. I'm going to be introducing some Amiga gameplay into these videos and comparisons that I do, because I now have WinUAE downloaded and installed on my laptop, and a few games courtesy of the incredibly generous Zeb Elwood, who was very patient with me, and it took about an hour and a half over the phone explaining to me how to set it all up, how to get it going, etc. Because I would never have worked it out myself. You know, I'm absolutely hopeless with computers and stuff. And if it wasn't for Zeb, I wouldn't have that opportunity to be able to do that now. So thank you, Zeb. There's going to be a Boulder Dash Clones video coming up very soon, hopefully. Still sort of like working on ideas, looking for various different games for that. But anyway, that's enough waffle from me. This video's probably gone on far too long anyway. Take care. Bye.